Hello everyone, in this quick tutorial we're going to take a look at how we could use Dreamweaver to build a quick contact form within our site. In this example I've laid out a real simple page, real plain, but making use of some of the features that are built in. So right off the bat we could start to see that we have our page here on the right, have some code here on the left, and what we're going to do is we're going to build our form within this with this particular div over here, and we have it as known as AP div 3, so we're working in there. Now the first thing you'll want to do is you're going to want to make sure you come over to your insert panel and toggle over to forms. When you toggle over to forms, you're going to see that you have a wide array of objects that you could place inside of your div tag, but more importantly to build your form with. We're going to scroll down here though, and we're going to take advantage of something that's a little bit different than the traditional HTML elements for a form. We're going to use some of the Spry elements that are built within inside of Adobe Dreamweaver. Now Spry is nothing more than a combination of some HTML, CSS, and even some JavaScript, but they add a richer experience than the traditional form elements here. We're going to go ahead and add a Spry validation text field, and when we do that, we're going to see that it requires an ID, and I'm going to call this name. And for the label, I'm just going to call that name also, and that's going to apply that to there. And then I'm going to leave everything else here the same, but I'm going to also include a tab index. This is helpful when somebody is using a keyboard. It allows them to move quickly through the form. If I click OK, it then prompts me and says, hey, do you want to add a form tag? Now, when I click yes, I want you to watch over here on the left-hand side of my code area and watch what gets added. You say yes, and of course now the form item is added in there, and it's highlighted, but it's nested within what is known as the form tag. We have an opening form tag and a closing form tag, and in Dreamweaver it's indicated with this red dashed line. So everything that we're going to build for our form really wants to take place within that red dashed box. So I've added my form, and if I click on it or on the blue area that says Spry text, I could see that I get down to my properties inspector here at the bottom, a series of options. First thing I want to do, since this is going to require some input from the user and we want to make sure that they enter it, I could actually specify a blur feature. So as they type off of there, it's going to prompt them, and it's going to ask them to enter a value, because it's also required here. The checkbox is here required. I'm going to go back up here to my form, and I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to add another Spry validation text field, and this time it's going to be for email. And I could click OK. And this one also, now if I click on my Spry field, I have some options down here. And for this one here, I have actually an option under the type called email address, and it's going to validate a format for the email address. And once again, I could also do that on blur. Now those are just two simple form elements that I could begin to add to my form and continue to build it out here. All along, I'm seeing my code expand a little bit further. Now, one of the other items I can add in there now is a button. And when I add my button, I could say submit or send, and then I can click OK. Now that appears there. If I hit enter, I can toggle it down. So that allows me to build out my contact form. What starts to make this a little bit more complicated though is, what do I do to make this form interactive? And in a follow-on video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can apply some kind of form mail item that might be available to you through your host, your server, and that'll allow you to actually enter values and go from there. Now just to see what it looks like, I'm going to toggle over to the live view, and we could see now when I didn't add my name block before, it leaves it off, and I left that off intentionally. So you can see now here, if I type that in and then go over to the other block, it asks for a value. And then if I do the same thing here, click off of it, it also prompts the user, and it will actually invalidate it when I go to try to submit it if I had something populated in my actual action field here. So this will be something we look at in a follow-on video.